What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in. This is Optibotimus coming at you with another video review. And on today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the new Hot Toys MMS 351 of the Winter Soldier from Captain America Civil War. For the package, you got that very similar looking background that we've gotten on all the other Civil War figures, with the Winter Soldier here in the very front. You got Captain America kind of there in the background. Around the side, you got Scarlet Witch. You come around here to the back. We have Hawkeye, we have Black Panther, and then you have Vision and Falcon flying around there, as well as the leg section of Giant Man. On the bottom, you have the various warnings and contact information for Hot Toys. Then when you lift up this slip sleeve cover, on the back of the inner package, you have the cast and crew responsible for making this figure. And then when you come around to the front, you have an open window that fully showcases the figure as well as all of his accessories. But for the packaging on this guy, that's about it. So without further ado, let's get him out here and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have the Winter Soldier from Captain America Civil War, opened up and out of his packaging. Now before we go on, I do have to address the big, elephant in the room, and that is his accessories. Now coming down to take a closer look at him, it is true, he does not come with nearly as much as the original Winter Soldier from the Winter Soldier movie came with. However, I don't really think that that's a very bad thing, because everything that he comes with is specifically in the movie. If you gave him a whole bunch of extra weapons and things like that, it wouldn't really be accurate to what Bucky used in the film. Unlike that original Winter Soldier version, he had a huge arsenal in that film, so it made sense that he came with a lot of it. What you get here with this new version, in addition to the two relaxed hands that are currently on him, you do get both a right and left fisted hand, and as you can see, he does have slightly different gloves than the original version did, and we'll take a closer look at that here in a little bit when I do a comparison. But the right hand here obviously has the regular human hand, and then the left is his bionic one. So if you want to have him punching people, you can do that. You also have a right and left trigger finger hand, which as you can see, the index finger is in a position to actually hold his gun. But again, still real nice detail. You can see a lot of nice texture here on the back of the glove, and then when you look at the knuckles, you can see a lot of nice padding. On the inside here, you got some nice, what looks like stitching work, but obviously because it's just molded, it's not actually stitch, but you do see some nice pads and things on the inside there. You also get a right and left kind of gesturing hand, or a clutching kind of hand. Now, I don't know exactly what you would clutch, but you can kind of see that it is done on an angle where the wrist section is kind of up like that. So, and then he also does come with a left hand that is just in this kind of holding position. I do think that this is more designed for holding like one of Captain America's shields. He doesn't come with one. Obviously, if you have Captain America, you'll be able to use this. But I think that that's what this is more primarily used for. And I love it. I think that's a great addition to have, because Bucky and Cap really did go back and forth with the shield when they were fighting Tony Stark. So I think that's a great inclusion. He does come with two additional wrist pegs. The one on his bionic arm here is black, whereas his regular one, as I'm dropping it, whereas his regular one is in the flesh color. And then he comes with the gun that we saw towards the end of the film. This is what he went in when him and Cap were trying to find the other Winter Soldiers. And great detail on this, coming in a little bit closer to see. Again, I don't know anything about guns, so please bear with me. But you got a little stabilizer section right here that can actually spread out if you really wanted to. I mean, that's a nice little touch. All these other pieces, like this, lifts, and like this back section lifts, but I don't know exactly what it can do, and I don't want to damage it or anything, so I'm just gonna leave it like that. One thing that I think is really cool, this section also lifts up, but I love how this piece here slides back and then it rotates as a bit of a kind of wrist stabilizer, and then you have like a little metal hook here. I think that's really cool. I love that little bit right there. That's kind of a neat little touch. And then you got this little section right here that does lift up. I can't get to it because my fingernails don't work, so I'll just use that little piece, lift that up, and then you can take this magazine. I think that's what this is called. You can see some nice detail with bullets on the inside there, and then you just plug that in just like so, and you have his completed gun. Again, it is what he walked around with towards the end of the film, so this is really the only thing that he comes with in terms of a weapon. Obviously his arm is a massive weapon, but this is really all we saw him using. Primarily you got an actual target thing right there. You can see that that's kind of clear, which is really neat. So I mean, for me, it doesn't bother me with his accessories because he didn't have a lot, so it works. He also does come with his display stand. As you can see, it's got the Captain America Civil War logo with the shield there in the back. Obviously, you got the nameplate with Winter Soldier there on the top, and then you got the pillar with the adjustable section right here. So accessory-wise, that's it. Now coming in to take a closer look at the figure, I really do love the portrait on here. Now some people have complained because the original version did come with two. One that had a mask section and goggles, and then one was just his plain face. But again, I don't think it's necessary to include that with this version because this is how he looked at the whole time. So I don't necessarily need a second portrait with it. So, I mean, again, I understand collectors' point of view. You know, they want as much as they possibly can get for the money, but this is accurate. So it does not bother me at all, really. And I think that the likeness here really does look terrific. Now, bringing in the original one, this is the old Bucky. I think that they still both look fairly good. I think that the lips here are a little bit more kind of thin and long, whereas these ones are a little bit more puffy. Obviously, he's got the black look around there, which again, he didn't have in Civil War, so I wouldn't want him to have that kind of thing. His hair is a little bit darker of a color. You can see that the original one is a little bit more brown. This is a little bit, it still looks brown, but a much darker brown. I mean, it's almost coming across as black. It's kind of hard to tell, but still has that messy look. I do like the little stubble that's on the face. I mean, he doesn't look like this anymore, so it doesn't bother me. And then that other face sculpt, you can see that he's got that mask that's actually attached to it. One thing that always was weird, and I don't even know if I don't think I ever actually reviewed this guy. I don't know why I didn't. But one thing that always kind of struck me as weird is why does he have that like black stuff around his eyes on that one face, but not this one? Now, that's the way it was in the movie, but I just think that that's kind of weird looking. I think it's really nice and accurate. I think it does a really nice job of capturing Sebastian Stan's look. Coming down to take a look at the rest of the body, we will again look at some of the differences here with the original one. The original, obviously, he's in his whole Winter Soldier mode. Whereas the Civil War version, he's more like Bucky. He still has issues, obviously, but he's not that huge soldier thing. So you got all these pouches, all these straps, all these buckles. That really does kind of define this look for him. The new version here, it's a lot more toned down. You can see that he's just wearing like this regular faux leather jacket. Now he does have some zippers and straps here along the side. He is wearing a actual glove on his hand here, whereas the original one, it was just an open hand. And then instead of these very militaristic pants and boots, they're a little bit more casual, I guess. They're still kind of military-ish, especially the boots here, but definitely not as full-blown as the original one is. I mean, I like both outfits. I don't think that either one are very bad. You got a lot more kind of weapon storage and stuff here in the back, whereas you really don't have that with the new guy. But I think for what Hot Toys had to work with, I think they did a terrific job of recreating that overall look again. Both of these look great for their respective movies. And for me, it's always a matter of I want the most recent and accurate looking. And the Civil War version is absolutely it. Also, the big, huge improvement has got to be the arm. As you can see, nice silver paint on here though, but this is a whole lot more reflective. That is absolutely gorgeous and leaps and bounds better than the original. It does look like the mold is the same. It's just a completely different paint app. And then when you look, one other thing that I noticed instantly, I never really liked, stay right there. I never really liked this drab gray section for his actual elbow joint. The new elbow joint on the inside is actually chromed out as well, which I think looks terrific. Now the gloves, the gloves are completely different as well. As you can see, like these have the little knuckle section on the back that are exposed, whereas these are different. So a lot of new stuff throughout the entire thing, but I do think that the arm is reused. But in general, I love the look. I gotta futz with this a little bit more because the shirt here, or the jacket, as you can see, is coming underneath there. But I love the detail on here. You can zip it down. I'm not going to zip it all the way out, but you can zip that down, and he has a black shirt underneath it. One thing, it is a little bit padded, and the one thing I noticed is that underneath his little turtleneck here is a little plastic section around his neck. I'm not going to take that off. It's just going to stay on there as a way to protect the paint detail and such. So I'm just going to zip that back up. Now you can't swap the heads. I'm not going to do it because both of them are actually a big pain in the butt to do. And honestly, I don't think they look good on the opposite body. So it's not something I'm going to really do very much. But overall, real great detail still on this. I think that they did a terrific job capturing that look. It's accurate to the film, both in terms of the presentation of the figure, his portrait, as well as his accessories. So I am really very happy with this. Now, for his articulation, the head is on the ball joint, so you can get a nice range of motion. Looks left, right, up and down. I'm trying to see if he's got a neck joint. I don't necessarily know if he's got a neck joint underneath there, but it does get a pretty good range of motion, so maybe he does have an actual neck joint kind of underneath there. The shoulders here are a little bit limited because of the jacket, but you get a full range of motion with his right arm, and then you can see it rotates. You got the armpit joint and everything. It rotates at the upper part of the bicep, and he's got two joints here at the elbow. The wrists have the standard rotation and then the hinge forward and back. But with the bionic arm, much like the original one, all you can do is rotate it 360 degrees. It can flex in and out. And again, you got that joint which has been chromed out very nicely there. So as you rotate that around, that doesn't look awkward and just a weird plasticky toy kind of thing. So I really do dig that. It does have a bit of an armpit joint. The elbow does bend, and it tells you that you can't really rotate it. You can to a degree. You can rotate it perfectly fine like this, but because of the sculpt here, when you rotate it out, it stops. So don't push past that. He doesn't have a swivel up here at the upper part of the bicep. So if you're going to be doing like a pose like that, that still makes me a little bit uncomfortable. It's very similar to the Hawkeye arm. It's not as bad here with Winter Soldier because he's not utilizing the arm as for a crossbow kind of thing. So it doesn't bother me really that much. But when you rotate your arm like that, this whole section should rotate. So that's just a nitpick on my part. But like I said, doesn't bother me nearly as much on this figure. He does have an upper ab crunch. He does have a lower waist joint. A lot of it is limited. The jacket and pants are separate pieces, so you can rotate it fairly decently. The hips do move forward and back. One thing that I'm a little bit disappointed in, well, the hips move outward really nicely. They rotate at the upper part of the thigh. Two joints here at the knee, but this is where I get a little bit annoyed, I guess, in terms of the pants. When you bend it, it completely comes out, and then you bring that back down, and now it's untucked. I guess, and then you got to tuck it back in. Same thing with this side. You go like that, and you can see that it exposes it. When you bring it back down, it kind of is just hanging out there. But it really should stay tucked in. I do wish that the pants were a little bit longer. It's not a terrible oversight on Hot Toys part. I mean, as you can see, you can tuck it in there. I just would be much happier if the pants were a little bit longer and maybe attached to that lower ankle joint or something like that so that they didn't detach. But you can see, futzing with it, you can get it looking much better and fix that kind of look. But obviously the ankles do rotate a little bit limited, but not too much because the boot does come up to about the mid shin area. So you can pivot it forward and back a little. It moves in and out a little so you can get a pretty decent wide stance with it. Same articulation that we got with the previous one, just a much more refined figure and much more accurate looking to how he appeared in the Civil War movie itself. But at the end of the day, it's really going to come down to personal preference. If you have that original version, you have to really kind of decide, do you want to have two of them? Or which one's look do you like the most? For me and my display, I like having the most recent and up-to-date look for the character. So this was one I was always going to get. The improvements to the portrait, as well as the paint detail for the arm, are huge improvements over that original one. But I do get why some people would like that original. It does come with more accessories and obviously the second portrait. That being said, what this version comes with is absolutely accurate to the film. Giving him extra weapons and things like that really wouldn't be accurate. So I'm fine with what he comes with. And he's actually cheaper than that original one. So if you have that old version, it's going to come down to which look you like the most. If you don't have one, this is a great one to add to your collection, especially since the old one has long been sold out and goes for insane prices right now on eBay. So if this is a guy that you'd like to add to your collection, he is available right now at Sideshow Collectibles. So all you have to do for that is click on the link down in the video description. You'll go to Sideshow where you can check out availability on this guy, as well as the rest of their wide range of Hot Toys 1/6 scale figures. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been Optibotimus. Don't forget that if you like this video, to please hit that thumbs up button. It goes a long way towards helping me out, and I'd really appreciate it. Also, be sure to subscribe in case you haven't already subscribed. That way you get instant email notifications whenever I upload a new video, and you never miss out on a future review of mine. Or if you're already subscribed, be sure to hit that little bell right below this video, and double check your settings to make sure that they're set so that you get those email notifications. And as always, until next time, be excellent to each other.